Hi, my name is Steven and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the passage of time. My thoughts on the passage of time. The passage of time is a fundamental aspect of our existence and it's always moving forward. And it shapes the way we perceive time and experience life. And as we journey through time, it becomes more important than ever to think about how time in the past has affected our lives. Because we change with time and learn nuggets of valuable information that we can take into the future. After my video on planning for 40s, I thought a lot about time and the journey I've taken. And overall how much time has passed and what I think about life in general now. As life gets more busy, I don't often take time to think about what my life has led up to. And if we're not intentional about how we use our time, life can slip on by. So I really want to deep dive into the passage of time and what I've learned from it. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about my background, my thoughts on passage of time, and my general thoughts. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, hit that notification bell if you like this content. And let's go. The passage of time has an uncanny ability to sneak up on people when they least expect it, catching them off guard amidst the routines of daily life. In the relentless path forward, we take time for granted among all of our busy work in life. But as we age and accumulate time, we start to be more aware of how much time has passed. As we age, we start to bear the burdens of all of our time on this planet with our experiences. And in those quiet moments, we can take a reflective nature upon ourselves and assess where we're at. And when this introspection occurs, we can figure out how much time really has slipped our grasp. Now that I'm a father, time is slipping by so fast and I can hardly take time to think about myself. And I'm continuously amazed at how fast time is passing us by. As a person who's very deliberate in planning and not wanting to waste any time, this came to me as a surprise. I really got caught off guard once I started a family and how much time has slipped on by. And I also realized the quiet, unrelenting march of time moving forward, that you can't get those time back. There's no stopping or slowing down. It marches at a constant beat forever. All time is the same unit of measure throughout our entire lives. And this paired with human experiences with time can cause us some grief, especially if we think about how time is in our lives and how we are so tied to it. Because we might at times want things to speed up or slow down. At the end of the day, we just need to make the most of the time that we have on this planet. And knowing some of these lessons about the passage of time can help myself and others. So here are my thoughts on the passage of time. Number one, time is immutable. The relenting march of time is impartial to our desires. It unfolds as a constant pace regardless of whether we want it or not. So if we want something to speed up or slow down, we have no way to actually affect it. That means regardless of how we want to move time faster or slower, we are just beholden to that same unit of time forever. And we have to get used to that fact that time will never change regardless of our opinions. That is one thing that's taken me a long time to learn and absorb. That time is immutable. The reason why this has been so difficult is because I still want time to move faster or slower based on my whims. I want my vacations to stretch endlessly long regardless of time. And I want the things that I'm not patient for to speed up and hurry. But in reality, that span of time, fast or slow, remains the same regardless of your intent. And I have to calibrate myself, whether good or bad, that time is going to stay the same. From the very joyful moments in my life to the very sad and depressing ones, each unit of time will remain the same as it always had. And I have to mentally prepare myself that time doesn't change. Nothing I can do personally can speed up or slow down time. The best thing I can do is focus on the moments that I want to remember and not remember the painful ones. So that's one of my biggest key takeaways, is that time is immutable regardless of your intent. Number two, perspectives on times change. As the years unfold, our perception of time changes with our life. It goes through a transformation of endless days during our childhood to fleeting moments in our adulthood. And as we get busier and busier within our lives, our perspectives on time might shorten. This perception of time is based on what we're doing within our lives. And it really is proportional to our age and the number of responsibilities we have. I recall in my childhood, I was bored very often. I didn't have a lot of things to do because I didn't have a lot of responsibilities at the time. So really during that time, I had to go to school and then have fun during the weekends without anything. This meant that days stretched on longer than I wanted to, and I was bored out of my mind inventing things to do. But as I started to age, get older, and tackle on new responsibilities, my time started to fill up. Nowadays, time is moving so fast relative to my childhood. This is because there are so many things that I have to get done, and it takes up all of my available time. So this means my perception of time is compressed as an adult versus when I was a child. We still have the same 24 hours in a day, but now that I'm older, it feels like that goes by blazingly fast. Certainly time stays constant, but my perception of it has changed. There are certainly ways to reverse this, but that means going back to a less busy lifestyle. In which case, more often than not, I don't think I can do that. So as we age, our perception of time gradually changes. Number 3, it's easy to waste. Throughout the passage of time, we are constantly reminded that we need to use our time very carefully in life. But yet, in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it's very hard to do it in practice. It's all too easy to fall into the trap of wasting our precious time. Because when we're assessing the entirety of our lives, it looks like we have a lot of time left on this planet. And it's hard to really assess how much time we waste on an average day compared to how much progress we can actually make. Procrastination and distraction throughout our lives can take away thousands of hours in aggregate and turn fleeting opportunities in life into missed chances. In recognizing that time is so valuable, I've learned that I need to prioritize making my time as efficient as possible and make deliberate choices to align my goals and values in life so that I minimize wasted time and effort on things. As a kid, I wasted a ton of time playing video games and doing non-productive things. I had a computer system early on and I wasted all that time just playing video games and not learning how to code or build things. This meant that I was behind the 8 ball in learning some very good skills at a critical age that could make me a lot of money in the future. And I used the majority of that time to play non-value added video games. True that I enjoyed my time and had fun, but at what cost? I could have definitely learned a musical instrument during this time that would have made my life much happier. So the biggest takeaway as an adult is to try not to waste time wherever possible. I need to be very careful about what I put into my life on a continual basis. This means that I have to cut out things that don't enrich or bring joy into my life, and carefully assess all the long-term goals that I want to spend my time towards. So what I learn and relearn is that time is finite and I continuously need to be careful with my time. And number 4, time is finite. Time is an immutable resource. We only have a finite amount of it, but that we as humans have an infinite possibilities of using that time. For each passing moment, we can allocate our time to whatever we want as long as it's valuable to us. But at the end of the day, it's the rarest resource on planet Earth. We can't get more of it in our lives. This means that with our finite amount of time, we have to make conscious decisions to make use of it. We have to ultimately recognize that there's a finite amount of time and we have to be very careful on how we use it. I always knew deeply that my time on this planet was very limited. And that means that if I don't spend time doing what I absolutely want to do, that I might not get more chance of it in the future. This was because as a child, I grew up on a scarcity mindset, especially regarding to time. And I never knew when I had more time to do things that I really wanted to do. So I made it a priority to work on things as quick as I can if it's really important to me. Because I really want to spend my time on this planet doing the things I really enjoy. And we can end up in a situation if we don't prioritize the joyful things that we might run out of time. Work, personal obligations, and family might exclude things that we really want to do in life. But if we do spend our time doing value-added activities, then we might set ourselves in the future for the best possible situation. For example, I spent a lot of my time in my college years studying really hard. And this allowed me to set up my future in my 20s where I had a job and I was hitting the ground running. I knew in my late 20s my chosen career was going to be hard, so I had to work really hard at it to make sure I had the proper footing going into it. Had I wasted my time in my 20s, my 30s would have been much worse off. And naturally, as you age, you're going to have more responsibilities. So that also impacts how much time you can dedicate to other things. So the takeaway is, time is a limited opportunity. Don't waste it, because you'll never get it back once you spent it. So here are my general thoughts on the passage of time. I think that most people don't really like to think about their mortality and how finite their life is. This is especially true when you're younger and you think you have a lot of time left on this planet. In my younger days, I've had a few close calls in my life, so that forced me to think about my life as being finite. And there's other times in my life where I saw how short human lives can actually be. For example, when I was 19, I saw a kid get hit by a car. I rushed over to him to see if he was okay, but it looked really bad. He later died at the hospital, but it showed me how fleeting life can actually be. Those experiences stuck with me and pushed me to be more proactive about things, and it helped me to solidify that I need to spend the most of my time whenever I can. Lastly, I think the more I age, the more reflective I think about time. As I enter a new phase of my life, the midlife crisis years, I start to think about all the experiences I've had in the past, and what other things that I need to do in the future to make the most out of my time left. And crucially, make my life more meaningful in my older years. All I can truly say is all of us are getting older and none of us likes that fact. But ultimately, all we can do is accept that and move on with our lives. The sooner that we can accept that time is finite, the better it is. So those are my thoughts on the passage of time. We all at some point need to think about our own passage of time and how we move through it, because we can ultimately learn something new about ourselves that can inform us into our future, and how we can deal with our own changing perception of time. Time is a constant and never changes, so it forces us to adapt to it. As I've gotten older, I've become more reflective of time and how my journey has progressed, which means I'm focusing more on not wasting every ounce of time. I really wish that I learned this lesson sooner, especially in my childhood years, because I think I could have used that time to ultimately better myself. But alas, I can't go back in time, so I'll use it to inform my future decisions. So I hope you took something away from this video and how you think about time. So thank you for watching. Please leave a comment down below on what are your thoughts on the passage of time and what do you think about your limited time on this earth. And I'll see you next time.